What's going on, guys? EJ here, bringing you another daily shave. So I've been tagged by Show Sharp David to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s of wet shaving, and I'm going to go ahead and do that today, but also doing a head shave as well. So we're going to get into that. So for today's razor is going to be the Gillette Sensor, my birth year razor right here. For the shaving brush, it's going to be the Alpha Shave Co. shaving brush. This is the gel knot that he has. Very, very great knot, by the way. And then for the face spackle is what we're going to be using from the club, or Ariana and Evans from Peter Sharkalis. And then the post-shave balm is going to be CAD from PAA. So let me get the brush soaked on, and then we'll go ahead and start getting into it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of wet shaving, which consists of your top 5 soaps, your top 4 splashes, your top 3 brushes, your top 2 razors, and then your number 1 blade that you would use. So we're gonna get into that. Let me just wet the head really quick. Take out my glasses. All right. Go. I hope through these pressing times everyone is doing okay. You know, us as a community, we keep in contact with each other, and I hope even everyone does so more now. I think everyone just needs that. Everyone just needs to have someone, just to talk to. Given our little situation that we are all going through right now. But let me tell you. Going to the spackle, it is loading up very, very well. Very well. So, let me get that lathered really quick. And so, the first subject is going to be the top 5 shaving soaps that you own in your den. And for me, it's going to be in a particular order. I know some people say, these soaps are not going to be in any certain order. But for me, I really... I have a strong belief that these are the order that I really use these soaps in, just because they are, to me, are my best performing soaps in my den, and I have no issues using them whatsoever. Maybe just a little bit more. Gotta shave the head since I had a barber's appointment and I had a full head of hair with a comb over, and with all this going on they shut down everything, so I just did not want to take care of it, so I just decided to get rid of it. We're looking at Ruds today. So for my first soap for top 5 is going to be Stirling, and I love Stirling. Honestly, I don't know if you guys watch my other old videos, but I think from the Daily Shave and the West Coast shaving videos, I called Stirling one of my biggest regrets for wet shaving, because I really didn't know anything about him when I first started, and I didn't really have anyone to look to find this particular artisan. But once I found out about Stirling, I was like, my God, for 5.8 ounces of soap at $13.50 at that price, along with the aftershave being the same exact price as the shaving soap, is an absolute steal. Absolute steal. And this is it is a top performing soap, especially for the money. It plays very well with water, and I have to give number 5 to Stirling. Number 4 for the soap is going to be Holy Cow, and this is in his Water Buffalo milk base. And King of Bourbon is excellent, but this is a very voracious, thirsty soap, and I use it sparingly because it's the only one that I have in that particular base, because I just picked up Entropy Man, and I'm going to be using his new base, which is Cereal. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot. And that right there, like any elite soap, is going to have excellent cushion, excellent slickness, and glide. And it smells great, especially if you're a big fan of boozy aromas. It is an excellent, excellent shave soap. Going on to number 3 is going to be Murphy and McNeil, and this is in their Kodiak base. This is the one that has the duck fat, I believe, along with the bear tallow. And what I love about this particular base too, very similar to Peter's base, it loads up very fast, very, very fast. Within a matter of seconds, you can have a voluminous, slick, elite lather like nobody's business for that shaving soap. I believe I have another soap in a different base, and it still performs just, you know, it's good, but it's leaps and bounds, you know, compared to, you know, the Kodiak base that you're using. So that's going to be my number 3 soap. Number 4 it's going to be Oleo. I absolutely love Oleo. Why? Because Oleo's duck fat base, for me, this had more sentimental value. This soap, when Vita first came out with her duck fat base, it brought me back to wet shaving and how it felt in the very beginning, on how I thoroughly enjoyed this hobby. And, you know, I think Bufflehead was the one that came out with the duck tallow base. Give me one sec. Sorry about that. The little young one went into the bathroom. But yeah, it brought me back to when I first started wet shaving. Just the sensation of loading up that soap and then just having that experience of using the duck fat base was phenomenal for me. It really brought me back to when I first started wet shaving, when I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea where to go to. And I started trying different Artisan, you know, made soaps. And when Vita released her Canard base, it was just a huge hit for me personally. You know, some people may not think that that base is not, you know, elite to them, but I, for one, believe that, because Vita was making a very good name for herself, and she came out swinging big time with that Canard base shave soap. And now for my number 1 base. From A&E or the club, Peter Sharkalis' shaving soap. This right here, to me, when he came out with his updated and new base, this was the pinnacle of wet shaving. You know, nowadays, a lot of, you know, newer artisans have a lot of stiff competition, because either some old, you know, soap makers in the game, they're starting to change up their bases a little bit. And Peter, he used to just, you know, source his bases from different artisans, and it's nothing new. It's not something that you haven't heard about. He even says it in his interviews. Even Vita used to make some of his soaps too, and which was pretty cool. He just made the sense. But when he started making everything in house, he really he is a force to be reckoned with in terms of his shave soap base. It is phenomenal base, elite slickness, elite lathering, cushion, you name it. And also, the post-shave feel on it is just absolutely stellar. It, like, his soaps, you wouldn't need an aftershave, but why would you not want to use his aftershave? Because his aftershave is also skin food too. So it's also good for your face, you know, from it taking a thrashing from you shaving. So I give my number 1 spot to Peter Sharkalis for my favorite shaving soap. Number 4, category 4 is going to be the aftershave splashes. So this one was a little tricky, but I figured I narrowed it down a little bit. So my number 4 splash is going to be Stirling, right over here. Like I said, you know, with the soap, the price point, everything with Stirling is about the price point, and presentation is great. You know, they used to use the apothecary amber bottles, now they went to the flasks, but these look great, and the scent stays with you for a pretty long time, longer than some just straight alcohol-based splashes. And it is just an overall great performer. My face feels great when using them. I never really had a reaction to Stirling, so that's going to be my number 4 splash. Number 3 is going to be PAA. This one happens to be Boomtown Bay Rum, but what I really do love about Douglas's aftershave splashes is that they're also colognes as well, you know, and that right there does last me about a good 8 hours worth of work whenever I use any of the splashes. So that right there is going to be my number 3 splash. Give me one sec. For number 2, This one right here was like a big battle, but also Eric, you know, like he made a valid point, and I just kept testing it out. But number 2 is going to be the skin food from the club or A&E, made by Peter Sharkalis. There is no burn whatsoever when you use his products, unless there's something you're allergic to inside his formula. But this absorbs into your skin really well, leaves your skin silky smooth, nice and soft, very supple, and it just smells great. It doesn't really last long, but it's okay. You know, his scents were meant to be when people are close to you, and I get that. I get where he's coming from. So that right there is going to be number 2. And then my number 1 splash has to go to Oleo Soap Bricks by Vita. Her splashes really make more of a punch. It's very bright, but also it gives you that nourishing feeling that you get from splashes. I know West Coast Shaving had her commission the skin food splashes whenever they did the West Coast Shaving shave soaps that they have on their website, and I love that formula. Honestly, it's also great for cold weather, especially over here in Nevada in the snowier seasons when we had snow. Like when using her splash, my skin did not dry out when going into the cold when I would head for work, and so that's why I'm going to give that number 1 spot for my number 4 category to Oleo's Aftershave Splash. 3 top shaving brushes. This one right here, it was a little tricky just because I had a lot of creepers coming into the game in terms of new brushes, but I had to narrow it down, and I will give an honorable mention to as well. Give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. I swear, it's like the kid ignores you all day, and then the moment when you want to go ahead and do something, they are just right there. So for those of you who are parents, you completely understand. Okay, so this right here, it was a little tough, but I managed to get it down to 3 brushes. So for my number 3 brush has to go to the Grizzly Bay. This right here, like I forgot the gentleman's name. I'm having a brain fart right now, but he does great work. I love what he does with his handles. Like you can always tell when you get a Grizzly Bay brush because most of his handles are mostly going to look the same. And I love the knot. I believe he uses the V4 Fanturian from That Darn Rob, so it is an excellent knot. Retains water and heat very well. Splays nice and evenly. Not too springy on the backbone, but it still has decent backbone, and the tips are nice and soft and gel-like. And this right here is going to be my number 3 brush. Number 2, I mean, up and coming from Neil Breed, is going to be the Ever Ready from, which one was it? Heritage Shaving Co. And this right here, for the price when you buy from Neil, is an absolute steal. He gives you a vintage handle with a modern twist, or sorry, modern knot, I should say, and this gels up a lot more, at least from my experience, from the not the V4, That Darn Rob knot, but from the V3, this one gels a lot more than this one does. And this was the foam brush right here that he did with Vita for That Darn Rob, but Neil definitely knocked it out of the park with the vintage look, but also going with the very modern shaving knots as well. This one right here, it has okay backbone. I find this more to be a painter than anything, but this right here is going to be my number 2 brush. And before I get to number 1, honorable mention, same thing again from Heritage, is going to be his gel board brush right here. I just received this. I mean, it's not wet, but it's dried out, but you can tell it clumps together. I am at loss for words when I use this right here. I mean, I love my board brushes and I use them often. And to have a board brush have gel tips is next level. I love the vintage handle. It's very old school throwback, barbershop-like handle. And the knot performs phenomenal. It doesn't splay out as big as people may would think, but let me tell you right now, it feels great when lathering on the face. And now for the number 1 brush, it has to go to Turn and Shave, the Tip Knot V4. This right here is my number 1 brush, my number 1 knot right here that I use. Milton does phenomenal work. I have multiple of his brushes. I still have more over here too as well, and I have more in my shaved end closet. But for me, Milton, I honestly only go to Milton for my custom shaving brushes now because he does excellent work. He's easy to work with and he knows exactly what you want. He makes sure he sees what you get before he go ahead and makes your handle. And I gotta give that #1 spot to Turn and Shave from my boy Milton. And now the 2 top razors. Before I do that, let me just get just a little bit more lather. Just gonna be very thin, just clean up right here. Some water. This stuff is already slick. Just going back to the face spackle, it is great. It is amazingly slick and it has great cushion, so very great for the entry-level wet shaver or for the veteran who is on the go as well. So 2 top razors. This right here was also another tough decision as well, but I had to give my #2 spot, well, because there's only 2 razors, has to go to the Rockwell. This is the 6C right here. I always get baby butt smooth shaves regardless of what software. I mean software does play into account for your shave, but 9.9 out of 10 times I always have a baby smooth shave using the Rockwell 6C, and I like to keep it at the R4. And I believe David also put that into his category for one of his top 2 razors as well. So I had to give it to Rockwell. Now for my #1 razor, it has to go to the Occam's razor. This is the Nano, the Oren, I believe. And this was graciously given to me by Luke because I was in a group, I still am, and I just asked someone's opinion on how the Occam's razor shaves. Because I've seen reviews on it, but just I really wanted to get a different perspective from somebody else who, not say who isn't a YouTuber, but just more or less just the average wet shaver, I should say. And he was gracious enough to go ahead and send me that. And I reviewed it, I tried it out, and I used it about a good 2 solid weeks. And let me tell you, my face, when I shaved every day, no irritation, no redness, no ingrowns, no nothing. Every time I used that razor, it was just easy. I didn't have to think about shaving when I used it. So that right there is going to be my #1 razor. And last but certainly not least is going to be, what is your #1 blade? And let me see. It is not here. Let me go get one. Let's see. I have so much stuff here, gentlemen. Bear with me. Here we are. I have a fresh container of these. And it was rough. It was a very tough decision, but my #1 blade has to go to Astra. These have been my #1 blades for as long as I can remember. I thought it was going to be Voskad's because I started using those a lot lately too as well. But there's just something about Astra greens. Like no matter what razor I put it in, aggressive, mild. I mean, for mild razors, you really want to use like a feather, maybe a Kai, something like that. But I always get phenomenal shaves whenever I use an Astra green blade. There was never a time where I did not have a great shave using an Astra blade. So that is my #1 blade for wet shaving. So that right there is my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of wet shaving. And I would like to personally tag my good friend Marty Pape and my good friend Jack Daniels from the virtual Groom room. So gentlemen, if you guys end up watching this video, I go ahead and tag you guys onto this, but I'm just gonna go ahead really quick and just finish rinsing off my head. And one thing I will say, going back to the spackle, is this thing takes on water very well, because every time I rinse out my head, because I used this last night too, when I first cut my hair, when upon rinsing, this thing will just keep generating more lather, so you really gotta like saturate it to fully get it off of you. But let me tell you, skin feels great. There's no irritation, no redness, no dryness whatsoever. Slickness cushion, it's always there. If you're getting it from Peter Sharkalis, you know what you're getting into. It is a great, phenomenal base. Let me get on these glasses really quick. There we go. And let me check. No cuts, no weepers, no nothing. Just checking any spots that I may have missed. And I am squared away. So before we get into the aftershave, we're going to go ahead and let you know. Today we use the face spackle along with the Gillette sensor razor with the Alpha Shave Co shaving brush. This is, I believe, with the polished chrome handle. And we're going to go ahead and just finish it off with CAD. Oh yeah. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Great. Excellent, excellent shave. Well, all right, everybody. There goes my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of wet shaving. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.